Hello, everyone. My name is Raj Semi. I work in customer success at Refined. Refined, we're a marketplace vendor. We make site building and user experience apps for both Confluence and for JSM.
Cool, perfect. Hey Raj, I'm Björn, co-CEO at Resolution. So we did this presentation a couple of times live in the United States, and now we are requested to do also a proper recording for it. Looking forward to do it again. I mean, it's a while for us. We did it the last time 4 weeks ago, something like that. So hopefully we are still trained.
Yes, 4 weeks ago on the other side of the Atlantic. So this will be fun.
Exactly.
But Bjorn and I, we're going to share with you how you can enhance your service management operations and deliver better customer support, both for your customers, but also for your teams working in JSM and in Jira with a combination of our apps. So to start off, let's talk a bit about service management itself. Obviously, there's a lot of tools out there for this, but JSM in particular has a lot of advantages for companies that invest in this. One of the key advantages with JSM, it's aligning different teams on the same platform. You likely have your development teams, for example, working in Jira, and then you have documentation in Confluence. Adding JSM onto this, both for internal service management and also for customer support operations, ensures that all of these teams are aligned on the same platforms. And it also makes the experience a lot more seamless. Maybe you have a customer reporting a bug, your software developers working on the bug in Jira. You can easily set up automations to ensure that your customers are always up to date in these situations. JSM is fairly flexible in how you can implement it. It's quite easy to get started with different templates, but then you can also make it as complex as you like using the marketplace and the different apps on offer. So let's take a fictional customer here with a real use case and real problems that they're facing, that they're looking to solve with both Atlassian and different apps from Refined and Resolution. We have OCTO, who's a global company making networking software for customers all around the world. And like any global company, they also have operations in different parts of the world, with teams working in the US, in Europe, and others working fully remotely from different locations. With their Atlassian use, obviously they have all of their support portals, be it customer support, HR services, ITSM, or more, all hosted in JSM. And then on the Confluence side of things, the product documentation for their software, collaboration spaces for their teams, and all employee handbooks, internal policies, and other documents, all housed in Confluence on the same Atlassian cloud. Let's take a look at some of the people working at Octo and take a look at what their needs are. We have Steve, who's working in support at Octo. He obviously needs access as an Octo employee to all the internal policies and documents that are related to his employment there. He also needs access to the team spaces. For transparency purposes, he wants to know what his teams are working on. He needs to serve his customers with product documentation, also coming from Confluence. And then he also needs his customers to be able to get in touch with his team through support portals. Then we've got Hannah, another Octo employee with a totally different set of needs. Hannah is the head of people. Obviously, she needs to communicate quite clearly to the entire Octo organization with different updates and happenings across the teams. She needs relevant content being easy to find for staff, regardless of their location, their work responsibilities, or where they are. Staff needs to be able to self-serve with these policy documents. And when they do need to get in touch, she also needs to ensure that the internal requests that they create are happening in the right place and going to the right people. And here's what they have today in native JSM. So for Steve, for example, he has the help center that he's trying to use to serve his customers. But for him as an Octo employee, he can also get all the internal portals here, which does get a little bit confusing when you want to tailor this help center towards a specific audience. And it's a similar experience in Confluence when they have all of this content, the internal policies, the external documentation, and more, all in the same space. And for Steve and Hannah, who have access to all of this content, it can be quite overwhelming and not as personal to their needs when they come to the Confluence instance. So here's where the Atlassian admin at Octo now looks to the marketplace. How can they figure out a way to manage and meet audience expectations for what content is served to them when they need it? And they come across refined sites, both for Confluence and refined sites for JSM. With refined sites, They're then able to create separate sites from the same Atlassian cloud instance and target these towards specific audiences who need to consume specific content from their single Atlassian cloud. One of the key ways that they enable these users to find what they need is by enhancing the navigation experience. So here's how it works. The Atlassian admin installs these two apps on the Atlassian cloud as integration apps. And then they get a refined cloud on which they can build out three distinct sites: a help site targeted towards OCTO's customers, and two intranet sites, one for US based employees, one for employees in Europe. They're able to assign admin permissions to Steve on the help site to manage fully the content that is served to customers, and Hannah manages the intranet sites, fully customizing what is served to employees in the US and in the EU. On each of these sites, the administrator is able to pick and choose from Confluence Cloud and JSM Cloud exactly which spaces and portals are included on this specific site. For the US intranet here, for example, we've included spaces relevant to different teams and policies for people at OCTO. These are grouped together and then form a navigation menu for the end users that makes sense for their needs, allowing them to be able to browse through this different content and find what they need in a quick and easy way without having to dig around for it in the Atlassian instance. The same on the Help Center. Here we can include the support projects and documentation spaces, serve these to OCTO's customers in an intuitive website navigation experience. They're able to access the documentation here and also the support projects. So they can either self-serve or get in touch with the team, depending on what their needs are. Each of the landing pages on these sites are fully customizable, allowing the admins, Hannah in this case, for the US intranet, to be able to manage the content served on each landing page to her end users. Maybe she wants to add modules that are picking up content dynamically from Confluence based on different filters coming from different spaces. And if this is not enough, she's also able to add custom CQL to further tailor down. They can also have the option of adding more static modules, maybe for communicating upcoming events and then linking out to a page in Confluence that has these. Now, one key thing that Octo is trying to do also is create tailored user experiences. Obviously, not all users have the same needs, and it's important for Octo to be able to create sites based on the needs of their users. You might have a user group that's more accustomed to self-service and want to look for information and be able to find this on their own. And they can totally do this using refined sites, giving them quick pathways to self-service documentation. And then for other users, they might want to get in touch with your team in a more quicker way. So for those users, you can easily serve them with pathways to support instead, ensuring that needs for these different user groups and the different ways that they like to work are all taken into consideration. It's also possible on the same landing page to cater to the needs of different stakeholders within your organization. For example, at Octo, they want to have a section that's dedicated to their managers so they can access guidance and information that they need. And on the same landing page, they can add a section on this based on the user groups that they already have in Confluence, limiting that section to just the manager user group. One of Hannah's key needs is to be able to communicate effectively across the organization. Let users access news and updates quickly and easily without overcrowding their email inboxes. With Refined, Octo is able to create dedicated news landing pages containing different feeds based on the content that's in Confluence already, letting users access different updates from different teams, from the product, or company wide updates, all in these dedicated feeds, all built with different filters, the content hosted in one place. Okay, now I have a question. Bjorn, I'm going to ask this one to you. How long do you think it takes back to get back into a productive flow after context switching?
Well, I would say it depends a little bit. I mean, I know the answer. We did the presentation a couple of times again, but let me share a little bit the experience what we had. So people answered, I think, for mostly from 20 minutes to 2 hours and so on. Some also thought just 2 minutes. So it was relatively mixed what we got as feedback.
Yeah, it was really a mixed bag. I think also it's very dependent sometimes on the type of context switching. But we do have some figures for you that are backed by research. So, as per Catalog and Cornell 2021 report, the cost of context switching on average is 9.5 minutes. And you can imagine that it might not seem like a long time, but when you have a company of thousands of people, 9.5 minutes tends to add up into a lot of hours.
Absolutely.
And here's where OCTO tries and minimizes context switching, both for their customers, but also for their internal users, by delivering help on their sites, powered from Confluence and JSM, at the point of need where users need this. And here's how this works. By embedding request types from JSM straight onto documentation pages, ensuring that both for internal or external service management, your users can easily get in touch with you without having to go to an external help center. Once they have sent in a request, they're still in the same context of the same site. They can either go and check their request, see what the action is on it, or if they have something else that they need to do on your site, they need to read some more documentation, they can still continue to do that without going back and forth all the time.
Perfect. Cool. So I really like these how to avoid context switching. And I mean, Raj now explained beautiful how the customer facing part looks like, how Confluence can be sexy again, integrated with JSM information and to deliver all these different needs. But you also explained in the beginning that we have Steve as an agent and he need to handle all the requests and so on. And then the second part of the presentation, we want to focus a little bit more on Steve and how to power up Steve's system. And we want to tackle three different things here. One is we want to implement an omni-channel or more omni-language capability for JSM. The second one is that we want to implement something that tickets are not stuck in the workflow because somebody is not available on vacation, sick, or whatever. And the third part is we want to improve the environment to be more productive in the cross collaboration with teams, in this scenario with HubSpot. So we are adding three more apps to the environment from Steve. One is our language translation app for JSM, which automatically translates the customer conversation in the agent needed language and vice versa. The second one is our out of office app, one of my favorite apps because there's a palm tree and it has something to do with vacation. And our third app is HubSpot for Jira, which works in JSM, but also exists in Confluence. Okay, let's talk about the customer. So let's talk about Casey or Kathy. It's not really a proper German name, but we can recognize her easily as a German because she likes beer. But she also likes to open support tickets in their own language. And let's talk about Steve again. Steve is based in US and he needs to handle the support tickets, but he only speaks English. So before we look how the conversation from Cassie can be translated to Steve, let's talk about automatic translations for a moment. So we did a survey 2 years ago to random people, and we asked the question how they feel when they need to open support tickets in English. And 37% of the persons were absolutely fine with that. But 40% and 23% are somewhere between, it's okay for me, to no, I definitely try to avoid it. And this is a really bad thing because this means over 60% of your customers are already pissed off before they opened a support ticket. And that's what you normally try to avoid as a company. You want that your customers communicate with you. So it means you try to make it easy and fine for them to open support tickets. Second question was that we asked if people trust automatic translated messages. And there's an interesting aspect in it. As younger your customers are, as higher the trust level is. So on the 18 to 29-year-old people, we're talking about 70% trust on automatic translations. So means keep this aspect in mind for the next couple of minutes. So let's jump into the live demonstration. So I'm Casey now. I'm not really looking like Casey, but I'm Casey now, and I have a classic problem. I have a problem with my Zoom account. I can't log in anymore. And I'm a customer from OCTO. So what I'm doing is I'm going to the documentation from OCTO, and I find a support article in German, which is super nice. I like it as a customer. So it's completely translated, and I try to figure out what's going on here. I got an error message. There's something wrong with the license. And as step 2, OCTO recommends to open a support ticket. And now I do it as a customer, but what is my intention? So with a refined solution, we have fully integrated the possibility for Casey to open a ticket. It is also translated already. So means for me as a customer, it's super natural to start now the conversation in German. So let's do it. I prepared my message somewhere because Casey is the good customer. So Casey is creating it, and Zoom Lizenzproblem. Here we go. So complete German ticket and send. So ticket done, and now we need to switch to Steve. So for Steve, it's now a little bit more interesting. So he's getting a new ticket. He got already a couple of tickets from Casey, but he is getting a new ticket. And he can see, okay, it's in German based on the summary. But when he opens the ticket now, it's already translated. So we translate, or our app translate the message in real time to Steve's language, in this case, English. So means Steve can consume the message and he can answer to Casey immediately. So you can do it with several things. So we have also an editor functionality, which Steve can use. He can type now in English and then translates the stuff, but I would like to show you a different way. So Steve just types as an internal note #translate and then the message to Casey. Also, Steve is well prepared. He has an English message here, and he sent it as an internal note. Our app detects now the #translate and translates the message to Casey in German. So let's check what Casey is getting. Here we are. We're going to our tickets. And here it is. And we can see that the message or the answer from Steve, aka Björn, is completely translated. So Casey's experience is amazing because she can talk in German the whole time. Steve's experience is amazing because he can stick in his language. So there's no copy and paste to Google Translate, then forgetting to document the translation. And we remember to the aspect of context switching. Context switching takes time. We help both parties here, Casey and Steve, that they can stay in the context. Okay, upgrade number 1 to JSM. Let's go to upgrade number 2 for Steve. Ticket is now translated. Steve interacted with Casey, but now somebody needs to work on the ticket. And I think Raj has a little bit of time for it. So I hand over the ticket to Raj. But what you can see in a second, and it already happened, is that instead to Raj, the ticket is assigned to me. So what happened here? That's the point where our second app kicks in, out of office assistant. So because Raj is on vacation. So we can see it here in these issue glance, out of office vacation until, the rest of the week. Lucky Raj, perfect. So means what we are doing here is that people can set up their out of office rules. A little bit similar like you do it in your Outlook or your Gmail client. So you simple setup that you're away, sick, vacation, whatever, and then you can define if your tickets should be automatically reassigned to a specific coverer or to a group of coverers. So you can define this per project or for all projects. You can strip it down to a very specific definition with JQL. And it could be also connected to other systems like Outlook, Gmail, that you have a synchronization here, or to systems like Tempo Timesheets and Tempo Planner when you use this for proper vacation and off-time management. Out of Office has also an integration with approvers, so means the same stuff what I did now here with a cover as a signee works also with approvers. That's really cool. Think about all the tickets which are stuck in the workflow because the next person in the hierarchy is not available and you need to wait another week or whatever. And this often means a customer waits or an internal customer waits. So also works for approvers, and it has also an integration that we avoid that the message is shared. This vacation message here, for example, is shared with customers. So we're absolutely fine with that. So don't forget it, out of Office Assistant for Jira and also works for JSM. Okay, so now I have the problem. I need to work on the ticket. And the first thing what I want to do here is I know that Casey is a super important customer, and we have an account manager who takes care of Casey and the organization. So means I want to inform him that Casey has at the moment a problem with her Zoom license, that there is an open ticket. So OCTO is using in the organization HubSpot, and here's where app number 3 kicks in. So our app HubSpot CRM for Jira allows Jira users to link Jira issues to HubSpot objects and vice versa without going to HubSpot and without having a HubSpot license. And again, vice versa, a HubSpot user can do the same without going to Jira, without a Jira license. So I simply opened the app already here with the app button. I go to link HubSpot object. I search for Casey. Casey is not a deal. Casey is a contact. But as you can see, you can search for deals, companies, contacts, tickets. So here is Casey, and I want to link this ticket to Casey. So it's done. So means for me as an agent, I can get now additional information like phone number or associated deals, associated companies. So we're supporting all HubSpot objects in this table. So it depends on the administrator or the user to define this view and to save the view. I could also create new HubSpot objects here, like a complete new contact and link it automatically. But how does it look like for the salesperson? So the salesperson is normally in HubSpot on the Casey customer account. And here on the right side, the salesperson can see that a new ticket is created for Casey. You can also see the initial description. And with this functionality here, you also get the whole conversation and the collaboration between Steve and Casey. It also allows the salesperson to interact with this ticket. HubSpot for Jira works with JSM and also normal Jira. So the idea here is that we are not synchronizing automatically data from one system to another system, because we strongly believe it's more about connecting data and allowing users from one system to work with users on the other system without switching, again, the context. So people can stay in their systems, they can work much faster instead of figuring out, who can I find Casey in a HubSpot UI? And that's it, what we are doing here with app number 3, HubSpot for Jira. Raj, do you want to summarize it?
Yes, definitely. So this is just one example of a solution built with 2 refined apps, refined sites for Confluence, refined sites for JSM, 3 resolution apps, out of Office Assistant, HubSpot connector, and translation for Jira and JSM. And essentially using the Atlassian stack plus this combination of 5 apps from the 2 vendors to enhance workflows, enhance integrations, enable seamless collaboration, and simply get more value out of the Atlassian stack for OCTO and their team.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you very much for watching. When you have questions, contact us, Raj from Refined or me from Resolution. And yeah, looking forward to next time, and maybe then in person.
Yes. Thanks so much.